How's it going, YouTube? This is your boy Luke Cardwalker. I'm going to show you guys an interesting take on super quants that I've been working on. It is going to be super quant invoked, or Power Rangers invoked. Honestly, I haven't been testing this too long, but it is a lot of fun, and I think it's honestly very decently competitive. And hopefully you guys will see that in some of these replays I got for you. Let me show you guys the deck profile real quick. So of course we got 3 copies of each of our super quants. We have our white layer, definitely the best utility out of all of them. Then red layer, our free summon plus monster reborn. Green layer helps draw through our deck as well as get out extra bodies. Blue layer searches anything. And then our Alphen, the most broken card in the deck, and yeah, that rounds out all the super quants. Then we are playing 2 Parallel Exceed. This card is actually pretty good. It's a free 0 Boros, which just gets us an extra Exceed monster on the field. It can also go into things like Dweller. You can also put in the Utopia double package, which I highly recommend. It's very explosive. Not a lot of people see it coming. And then, of course, we got our Invoked engine. We have 3 copies of Alistair. And then down here we have Phantasme, triple copies of Ash, 3 copies Meltdown, 2 copies of Invocation. Honestly, you could even just go to 1, but I think 2 is fine for now. 2 Outs to Mystic Mine, 1 Terraforming, 1 1-for-1, 1 E-Telly for our Blue Ranger, our Super Quant field spell, and 1 Mystic Mine just to be unfair to our opponents when we need it. And then, of course, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Now, Imperm's pretty good right now. It just gets around that Called by the Grave that a lot of people are playing. Also, it's just a nice extra thing to have to interrupt our opponents. Then off to the extra deck, we have 1 copy of Makaba. This plays really well with our white layer, and another card in the extra deck I'll show you here in a second. 1 copy of Purgatrio. Obviously we have our red layer that we can go into this with, and just helps go for game. Then we have our Super Quant Xyz. Obviously we have the big Megazord himself, Great Magnus. In Master Rule 5, it's super easy to make him. Sometimes you do need setup though, so it's not 100% consistent, but it's still, if you can make him, it's still explosive. 1 copy of Lusterex, he's our Effect Veiler. 1 copy of Magnaliker, he pops a monster. Ouroboros, Ouroboros is a Book of Moon, and we have Grand Pulse, which is our MST. 1 Abyss Dweller, or any other rank 4, or any, really this is our floater card. I just put an Abyss Dweller in there because it's an easy rank 4 to make, and it's very generic, but there's always other options you can put in. 1 copy of Appaloosa. You can go into her with 3 or 4 materials pretty easily. And we have our 1 copy of Megaclops. Megaclops is definitely one of the best win conditions that we have. Just being a 4K beat stick that's unaffected by everything other than Xyz monsters, that's just insane. Plus helps us to recur some of our Xyz in the grave if we really want to, and clear our opponent's board. And we can make him fairly easily because of Great Magnus. 1 copy of our Super Quant Link monster. Now this guy is still very good. Helps you go through your deck and helps to make Great Magnus. 1 copy of Hita. As always, just great for link climbing. Then a new card from Eternity Code, Proxy F Magician. Now this card is really good for this version. So if you don't know what this card does, during your main phase you can fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your field as fusion material. That effect doesn't come up too much, but the second effect is what we really want. If a fusion monster is fusion summoned to a zone this card points to, you can special summon 1 monster with 1000 or less attack from your hand. And now that allows us to go straight into a Makaba, and then bring out our Alphen from our hand, and then go into some extra Xyz plays from there. So not only are we going to get a Makaba negate, but we're also going to be able to put out Xyz monsters, and we don't need to have we don't need to run double summon in the deck. This is our pseudo double summon, and it's a really good piece of support. There's also some good combos with this card and Jet Synchron that you can just turbo out Great Magnus. If you guys want to see that, let me know. I'll be happy to put a deck together for that. And then Almirage and Secure Gardna just for our Makaba plays to get Alistair on the field. Alright, so that's the deck profile. With that, let me go into some replays for you. Alright, the first game we're going up against a what I can only describe as kind of like a Synchro Buster Dragon Turbo. It's a fairly interesting deck. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see him really put out too much. I was able to just stop him in his tracks for most of the game. But I would have loved to have seen this deck pop off. It looks like it's got some pretty insane plays. So, first things first, we're going to use our Meltdown, search our Alistair, search Invocation. You guys have seen this 100 times before. Go into Almirage, into Gardna, Invocation, into our Makaba. Now here, we're going to recycle and then go into a 1-for-1. Go ahead and pop off Alpha, get Red Layer. Red Layer, we're going to add back White. We'll use White effect, do a little shuffle. Red Layer is going to bring back Blue. White Layer is going to send the Blue. We will recycle our cards and then go into a Grand Pulse. We will set an Impermanence and pass. From here, we wanted to pop that in Midbreaker just so our Imperm is live. He's going to go ahead and call by our White Layer, which is okay. He'll use a 1-for-1 of his own, going into Jet Synchron. Here he'll go into Deskbot, Link Karibo. And then we'll go ahead and Phantasme, just get the card advantage. Now that he goes into Needle Fiber. Now here I probably should have gone for a Makaba Negate, just to get rid of the Needle Fiber so he doesn't have the card advantage. But it still worked out in the end, so it's no big deal. We'll go into Link Cross, and then we'll use our Makaba Negate. He'll go ahead into Jet Synchron, go into Buster Dragon, send this Destruction Sword. So if you guys don't know about the Buster Dragons, basically they fusion summon off of these trap cards, and they make some pretty insane monsters. This big guy over here, he is a very oppressive card. He will just turn any of your dragon monsters, he'll just completely negate their effects. And even if you're not playing a dragon deck, that's why they have Buster Dragon. And Buster Dragon will just turn them all into dragons anyway. So he basically is a skill drain that gets a very, very big beat stick. So from here, we're going to go ahead and we'll just summon out our Alistair, and he will just go ahead and concede. Alright, our next matchup we've got, we're going up against Dark World. Now this is what I would call a very, very bad hand. There's not much that I'm going to be able to do here. I could have gone one of two ways. Just could have put out a an Ouroboros and have a Book of Moon. But I elected to go for the Makaba. I felt that it would be a much stronger play. So we'll activate Meltdown, search Alistair, summon Alistair, add Invocation, go into our Secure Gardna and into our Makaba, and recycle and pass. Now this is a very weak board. So I'm not gonna lie, against any better deck, this would have been GG. If I was playing Eldritch or Emancipator, this was not gonna win me the game. But you never know. You're playing Rogue. Miracles happen, right? So he's gonna go ahead and Dark World Dealings, not knowing what we're playing. So that's just gonna help us out more than them. We'll be able to cycle through our deck a little bit and bring out a little bit of protection as well by summoning Green Layer. He's going into Tour Guide, into Rhino Warrior, and he's going to pop our Makaba, which is probably a smart play. You don't want to keep those negates on the board. He's going to crash into our Green Layer, and we'll pass. So now we're going to summon Alistair, search out our Invocation, use Meltdown, and now I've got all 3 copies of Alistair, which is no big deal. We'll go ahead and Percatrio, run over this copy of Breaksword, and pump up because we can, and then we'll just pass and hope for the best. It's not like he drew really well, so this is okay. We're just going to pump up our perg and go into the next turn. Now is when we get our Super Quant engine going. Once we summon Alphon, it's over. We're off to the races. We got 3 effects going off at the same time, and he sees that we have game on board, and he will just go ahead and concede. Once you allow Alphon to resolve, Super Quants are just going to start popping off. Alright, now our next matchup is against a Red Eyes deck. So I did make a little bit of an oopsie in this opening play. I did not read Secure Gardener's effect close enough, so I'll tell you guys what I'll show you in a little bit. So first off, we're going for our Invoked engine, and then right here, this is where I messed up. So Secure Gardener, if you read the text, cannot be used as link material. So I was going to go into Proxy F, but I didn't realize that until it was too late. So you could see that I go ahead and I will use my blue layer to search out an Alphon, thinking I was going to be able to link summon, and I didn't. So ultimately we just end on Makaba and Cosmic Cyclone, which is not a very strong combo. So, but he goes ahead and starts off with Dark Ruler No More, which is fine. We're not going to lose this turn. We're just trying to make it to turn 2. That's all the goal is for Super Quants, is make it to turn 2 and you're good. Now he goes in for this Red Eyes Alternative, which it's an okay card. It just brings out a big Red Eyes, but Red Eyes is not that oppressive of a card, even if it's pumped up. And you guys will see. So we're going into our Proxy F right here, and this is just how powerful it is. Now we can bring out an Alphon, recycle that back, Alphon effect, get our green layer. We'll summon out a white layer, green layer summon out Alphon. We'll make a Luster X, and Zero Boris is just going to flip that down, and now we don't have to worry about it anymore. So now he's going to go ahead and lead off with a Raigeki and just clear our board, which is kind of unfortunate. Again, any other deck should have OTK'd us, but it's Red Eyes, it's not the most consistent deck. I think he probably could have played things a little bit different, but honestly, it wasn't. It was as good as he could do. Mecha Phantom Beast, Draco Sack is still a very good card, but he just didn't have enough extension to go into for game, and I think he could have done it. Ripping red layer off the top is definitely a very good plus. We're able to recycle back some of our cards. Now here, I could have gone for Alphon Summon and try and get off some extra effects, but I already knew where my game state was. I knew that I had 2 Super Quant Xyz already engraved, so all I needed was 1 more. So now I'm just going to try and start clearing his board. So all I needed was to normal summon blue layer, search out our field spell, and now we're off. So we'll go ahead and use the field spell, summon out our Magnalegger, we'll pop a card. Red layer is going to bring back our white. We'll go into Hita. Now this is just for style points. I really didn't have to do this, but I went into Grand Pulse, and then go into our Blaster Magna here, just so I can get a free draw off of him. So you'll see now we'll summon out our Great Magnus. We'll get a draw. We'll get Phantasme. We'll cycle back a card. Now here I go into Appaloosa for a very good reason. If you see our opponent is at 3,800 points. If I were to attack with Great Magnus and our Super Quant Link, I would not have won the game. So instead, I like to go into Appaloosa just to prevent any funny business. And then Great Magnus's effect allows us to bring back those 3 Xyz, go into our Mega Clops, and with Mega Clops we have enough to win. Alright, now this matchup, you're not going to see any of our Invoked engine at all. This is just showing you how good Great Magnus can be. So we're playing against Altergeist. They open pretty good, but we're going first. So we're going to be able to set up a pretty interesting board, I guess you could say. But we're just going to go ahead and go through our Super Quant shenanigans. And so we get the blue layer off. Blue layer is going to search out our field spell. From here, we're just going to go straight into Great Magnus. No questions asked. Honestly, I didn't feel and feel bad about just leaving leaving Great Magnus on the board with 6 materials. That is never a bad play. So we have Great Magnus and an Ash. Our opponent's going to basically just set a bunch of cards and pass. Now he can't. Now if you guys noticed, he had a Pot of Extravagance just chilling, and he couldn't use it because with 6 materials you can't draw. You can't add cards from your deck to your hand. He's a much better version of Colossus because Colossus allows you to draw, but Great Magnus, you're stuck. You can't even use your Extravagance. So we're going to go ahead and start off with firing that Cosmic Cyclone just to clear out a back row. We'll use our Great Magnus effect. Now here's where he kind of messed up. So this is why it's important for you guys to read cards. If you'll notice, with 4 materials, it is unaffected by card effects except by Super Quant cards. So even a Solemn Strike is not going to be able to compete with a Great Magnus. So he's just going to burn off a Solemn Strike, take some damage, and we'll be able to shuffle a different card back in. It's you guys gotta pay attention. So we'll go ahead and bring back our white layer, get in for some damage, pass off to him. Now even with 5 materials now, he's still an oppressive card. He's still unaffected by card effects and can still shuffle back any card. So even if he was able to bounce back from here, Great Magnus can just roll over the field. So he's going to go ahead and fire off that Extravagance, and at this point we'll go ahead and Ash, and he sees the writing on the wall and he's just going to surrender. Alright, and then the last matchup I want to show you guys is up against Salim Angry. Now this one is probably my favorite matchup that I played against today, and you guys will see even going second we're able to still compete. So he's going to go ahead, fire off the circle, get Gazelle, go into Phalanx. Then I'm going to go into Phantasme, draw some cards. Now, here's the reason why I Ash the Parallel Exceed. Abyss Dweller hard counters this deck because a lot of our effects are graveyard effects. So I wanted to keep him out of Abyss Dweller as much as I possibly could. So he's still going to be able to combo off here. Going to go ahead and do Salim Angry shenanigans. He's going to cycle out, go for Will, then go into Sunlight Wolf, which will recur the Roar. Sunlight Wolf, he's going to add back the Will, and then he's going to go into an Appaloosa for 3 and get back that Gazelle. Now from here, I wanted to bait out that Roar, didn't want that on the field. So we're going to go ahead and Cosmic. Happened to draw the second Cosmic as well, so I just got rid of the Will just to get rid of it. Now from here, I could have tried to do some plays, probably could have done Meltdown or go into Alistair, but I really wanted to be able to stop his plays. I'm not really trying to end the game here. I don't feel like I have enough resources to just push for game. So instead I like to crash into the Appaloosa, get rid of those negates, and then build my board from there, because really I already know he has Gazelle in hand and he's got nothing to counter my plays now. So we're going to go in, get our Meltdown, go for Alistair, search our Invocation, and now from here we'll go into Owl Mirage. So I didn't go into Secure Garden here for a reason. So we went Parallel Exceed. Now this is why this card is so good. It's just free materials for us. We'll go into Hita, Invocation into Makaba, and now the Makaba, using the white layer from our hand, we're going to go ahead and search our Alphon for our next turn. So we didn't even have to banish one from our grave, which is nice. That just helps us plus and set up for the next turn. So from here, we'll go into our Hita, and we'll recycle the Invocation so that we have a negate. I already knew what I was going to do. I was going to bring back one of his Salim Angry monsters. He was going to fire off Gazelle and try and gain advantage there. So that's why I wanted to preemptively search out my Alistair, so that I could just negate the Gazelle and go ahead and get rid of that, just banish it, and not have to worry about it. So we'll go into an Appaloosa of our own here, and at this point we've got a good control of the game. He's going to fire off that Sunlight Wolf, which will negate with our Makaba. he'll activate Spinny and will negate with Appaloosa, and at that point he's just going to concede. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Let me know what you guys think about this deck. If you guys want to see some other variants of the Master Roll 5 Super Quants, let me know. There's a pretty cool combo with Jet Synchron and Needle Fiber or Halka fuck whatever. As always, guys, remember to have fun. May the cards be with you. Peace out.